Here with this week's hottest stories in the investment world, this is Zach's Friday Finish Line.
Hello, and welcome to the Zach's Friday Finish Line. I'm Ryan McQueenie, a content writer here at Zach's, along with one of our editors, Maddie Johnson.
Today is Friday, August 25th. Lady Gaga's in town, so welcome.
This is true.
We're here to recap this week's biggest stories from the investment and financial world. It was another interesting week in U.S. politics as President Donald Trump's latest campaign rally was pretty interesting. I was watching a live stream on fake news BuzzFeed that it was like 4 hours long, so I didn't watch it all, but I was jumping in and out. Like the reporters were outside of the Arizona event space where it was held, and it was just interesting.
Yeah.
The questions were good. The responses were not as bizarre as I thought they would be, just because it wasn't on the campaign trail. 7, 8, 9 months into the presidency.
Yeah.
This one guy had the most insane mullet I've ever seen, straight out of 1989. It was fantastic.
Yeah. It was a sight to behold, that's for sure.
Yeah. A lot of Charlottesville questions, a lot of, it came back to that.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to continue doing that for quite some time. We also had Trump's announcement of a semi-revised strategy in Afghanistan. A lot of rhetoric about holding Pakistan more accountable, another surge of new troops in Afghanistan, and kind of the argument or the implementation of a policy that would not publicly announce troop levels at all times. So kind of the argument that was too revealing of a strategy in the past. So interesting, not necessarily as a result, but we also saw a few major defense stocks hit all-time highs this week. Probably getting a little bit of a boost there, but another interesting week in politics. I feel like we've been starting the show with a lot of breaking political news over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. So those were definitely headline-worthy stories themselves, but we've got plenty more from the world of Wall Street from you, Ryan. So please fill us in on what Snapchat, what's going on there.
Let's start with Snap this week. It was a little bit better week for Snap, kind of a much needed for the struggling company. Investors jumped on Snap stock on Tuesday after reports suggested that Snapchat's youthful user base is set to grow more than originally projected. This was a report from eMarketer. It suggested that Snapchat's overall user base will jump by 25.8% from the total at the end of 2016, reaching 79.2 million monthly users in 2017. So the app's biggest gains are projected to occur in the 18 to 24-year-old and 12 to 17-year-old categories. This is important because, as we'll touch on in a second, there's kind of this interesting dichotomy between Snapchat's user base and Facebook's user base as far as age goes.
Can I interrupt? Are you saying Facebook as in Instagram or Facebook as in Facebook?
A little bit of both. We'll get to some Instagram news as well. So I got a quote here from eMarketer analyst Oscar Orozco. He said, quote, "We see teens and tweens migrating to Snapchat and Instagram. Both platforms have found success with this demographic since they are more aligned with how they communicate. That is using visual content," end quote. Also more on the visual content in a second. Facebook, on the other hand, so this is Facebook specific, is set to see a 3.4% drop in monthly average U.S. users ages 12 to 17, which is nearly triple 2016's 1.2% decline. eMarketer projects that Snapchat will surpass Instagram and Facebook in the teen, which is that 12 to 17, and young adult 18 to 24 demographics for the first time in 2017. So going back, so that was kind of the less specifics on Instagram, but eMarketer saying that Snapchat is expected to surpass Instagram's user totals in certain age categories.
And Instagram stories we're referring to, or Instagram the app? Instagram
the app overall.
Okay.
So, which would actually, I would be interested in seeing those specifics more if the theory that the younger people are communicating, that younger folks are communicating more frequently with visual content. It would be interesting, I think, to see whether that story mode overall is something that is more attractive to younger folks as well, or if it's just picture and video sharing in general.
Yeah.
Going back to kind of this idea of engaging with visual content, another thing that happened with Snapchat this week, CNN on Monday launched a new daily news show on the application. It's called The Update. And it is going to post at 6 p.m. Eastern every day, along with, some breaking news interjections throughout the course of the day. This kind of follows NBC News's twice daily Snapchat show called Stay Tuned, which debuted in late July. I think both those are really good names for news shows on Snapchat. So I don't really have an opinion on the quality of the content there, but I think that the titles so far so good.
Yeah. And you use Snapchat.
I do use Snapchat, yes. Yeah. I don't really use the news and like pop culture stuff that they do on the story mode side of things. I use it more as a communication tool with friends. But they do certainly have a lot of engagement with pop culture, current events, breaking news type of stuff. It's very much an outlet that you can go and see, oh, well, this celebrity was hanging out with this celebrity in downtown LA today, and here's 3 pictures of it, and we're on to the next thing. This person's wearing this dress on the red carpet today, that type of stuff.
Sure.
And then these shows that they're offering are now the kind of more fleshed out versions of that are, full length, 5 to 10 minute kind of shows. Snap shares were up as much as 9% this week, but another sell-off on Thursday brought that down a little bit. Through Thursday afternoon trading, Snap was up 5% from last Friday's close. So in the long run, a marginal gain, 5%, certainly not blowing anything out of the water, but it's kind of a volatile week on the market overall, and for Snap to come out in the green would certainly be a great sign, or not necessarily a great sign, but much needed breath of fresh air for Snap investors after the last few months.
Yeah, because every day has been, why is shares down? Why are they down? I don't know.
Definitely. Kind of looking more into the future, though, transition over to Amazon and Whole Foods.
Yes. This week, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, finally approved Amazon's acquisition of Whole Foods Market, and which concluded an investigation to determine if the grocery deal would unfairly affect market competition, which, well, we all kind of thought.
I guess it depends on your definition of unfairly.
Yes.
And this regulatory body is in charge of defining that word,
So they said in a statement that, quote, based on our investigation, we have decided not to pursue this matter further. And of course, well, this is also part of the quote, of course, the FTC always has the ability to investigate anti-competitive conduct should action be warranted, unquote, which I thought was, I don't know if they always put that in their statements, but
that's interesting.
I mean, yes,
you're good for now, but
yes, you have the ability.
We can investigate in the future.
Yeah. But the FTC's announcement came soon after Whole Foods' shareholders approved the $13.7 billion deal in a meeting on Wednesday. And so right now, the upscale supermarket chain has about 470 stores in North America and the United Kingdom. Insert anecdote, when I was in London. I went into a Whole Foods there, and it was absolutely beautiful. I paid about 3 times as much for organic things as I would normally here in the US, just because of like exchange rates, but it was stunning. I don't even know where I was, but it was really pretty. So this gives Amazon an interesting start to its foray, to its its baby steps into the grocery business. One of our colleagues brought up that I don't know where he read it, but price cuts could start as soon as Monday on quote unquote staples. So what I'm interested to know on what brands these staples will be under. Will it be the 365 Whole Foods brand? Will it be really expensive, bougie, organic brands? Like what are defined as staples under the Whole Foods umbrella? It'll be just very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited that I can get any sort of not discount, but like a price cut on my bill at Whole Foods when I shop there. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's going to be fascinating to watch kind of now that we're at the point where the effects are going to start setting in. I would think that one of the primary goals or one of the primary methods that Amazon is going to use, and as you just mentioned, starting as early as Monday, but long term as well, to get more people into Whole Foods, is cutting prices. Obviously, any time that you're selling a product as a business, you're trying to look for the appropriate balance between selling, like you're trying to find the appropriate selling price to maximize profits, and part of that is how many people can we get in the stores versus how much money are we making off of everything that we sell. So I would think that with Amazon, kind of have a little bit more leverage to lose some money here and there if it's related to getting more people in the stores, especially if they start trying to kind of do what Prime does for the website, which is get you into the store, get you onto the site, and then kind of make you a lifelong customer through some sort of interaction with a program in the stores. So obviously, I mean, Prime will at some point become a factor in the stores. I would think how or why, I'm not really sure at this point. I don't know, and I'm not sure details have really been announced. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch those low prices, the lower prices. That is, it certainly won't be low prices at Whole Foods when you're starting with a very high price already. But it'll be interesting to see if the lower prices bring more people into the stores, which then translates into even more lifelong Amazon customers, which I think it's kind of like it's becoming a cult almost.
Yeah. Or does this mean more 2-for-1 deals or buy one, get one free, buy one, get one half off? It's, I don't know. But then you have like really like well-known organic brands. Like the one that keeps coming to mind, it's called Khalifa Farms. Sorry to name drop on here. They make almond milk of all things. Yeah. And is that considered a staple for example, is that considered a staple for a Whole Foods customer? Maybe. Yeah. But let's say that's their price is cut on their products. Like, do these, well-known organic brands, I mean, what's like the limit on price cuts?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm curious to see too, is how low can you go with these prices? Yeah,
because Whole Foods will never be a Walmart.
Exactly. It's not ever going to be a discount retailer.
I still want to find never going to find anywhere else organic product. That's why I go to Whole Foods. But
yeah, and so that's what I think what we've talked about on the show too a lot is the ability for Whole Foods or for Amazon to kind of leverage the space and the property to benefit the logistics side of things with distribution and delivery, specifically like fresh same-day deliveries. And that doesn't have much to do with the in-store Whole Foods experience. So I think this idea of pricing is kind of going to be the first thing we'll see as far as the change in store in the Whole Foods. The experience will change slightly with lower prices. So that'll be interesting to watch. And apparently it's coming very, very soon. Would also, of course, be very interesting to see when the Kindle displays get put up.
LOL.
I would imagine that you'll be able to buy some Amazon branded.
I would see more.
Store.
You know how like in Kohl's they have like those help podiums.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, I would run up and push the help button, then run away, and then watch as an associate would come up to it and like look around for who needed help. I was an awful
Classic
child.
prankster.
Awful child at some points. But I could see like Amazon implementing something like that with like an Alexa Dot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like all around the store. Like, where can I find my organic quinoa pasta?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, aisle 9.
Yeah, I would assume something like that is coming or has been thought of at least.
Especially in like those new gigantic Whole Foods where you like walk in and you're like so overwhelmed by everything.
Yeah,
Look
definitely.
at all this fruit. What is this?
Yeah, definitely. And it, even more so than that, I think why not sell the Echoes in the store? Why not have just a little, even if it's just a little, a couple shelves here and there? You would think that they would want to get some storefront sales.
I could also
the Echo
see
and like the Kindle Fire Sticks and stuff like that.
Yeah, jumping off your Prime point that you mentioned a little bit ago, just implementing a rewards program. So maybe you're not slashing prices on all the products, but if you implement a rewards program and you have like, you know how some even apparel retailers have cash, like Old Navy, you get like those like cash coupons.
Yeah.
You have something like that. You get like, or Mariano's, for example, which is like this local grocery store in the Chicago area. I don't know how far widespread
Yeah, I
is
don't know either. As you were saying that, I was thinking, does everyone know Mariano's?
Yeah. But it has like, you can get a rewards card and you scan it every time you shop. And Whole Foods may do this already.
Am I going to have to carry around like, are we going to be carrying around like Prime membership cards? And then maybe we just get like 5% off, or you get like a loyalty bonus or something.
I don't know. Maybe you pay an extra $5 a month or an extra how many dollars a year added on to your Prime membership. And you get a discount every time you shop at Whole Foods.
Certain things that are on sale perhaps are marked down lower for Prime customers, things like that. I don't know. I don't know what the plans are.
I don't know.
Now we will be able to see, though, for sure, what is going to go down in apparently as early as next week, some discounted prices. So that'll be interesting to watch. Gonna move on to another one of our I don't want to say favorite, but one of our more reoccurring topics of the show, which is Uber. We had some interesting news from Uber this week.
I don't know if I know you don't use Uber, but I've been getting nonstop email coupons in my email, like 25% off for the next 10 rides for like specific dates. I use it all the time. I just think I don't know if it's just in the Chicago area, but it's fantastic. So anyone listening, check your email, 25% off.
Probably not a great sign as far as the financials of things, though, that they're having to dish out.
It's good for
spending
me.
so much on marketing and discounts and stuff. But definitely
Lyft rider over here.
I'm a Lyft. I'm exclusive to Lyft, partially because of my opinions about the what we'll get into now.
I use both.
So according to the latest round of Uber-related rumors, the company has slated Jeff Immelt, the former chief executive of General Electric, to fill its vacant CEO role. I just want to say, first off, I have a really hard time with his last name. It's Immelt, and now I say it like
French.
3 or 4 different ways. So it's probably my pronunciation is gonna like go back and forth as we go through this. But Yeah, I don't know what something about the way his last name is structured, I personally struggle with.
Anything starting with like a weird vowel, though.
Yeah, true. Vowels are tricky.
Just saying.
The GE chairman has reportedly emerged as the number one candidate preferred by the majority of Uber's board, although apparently 2 other executives are also still being considered. Tensions at Uber, of course, remain high as of late. Former chief executive Travis Kalanick, who also co-founded the company, faces a lawsuit from one of its major investors, Benchmark. This was in relation to Benchmark's claims that Kalanick duped them. I don't know if that's the legal term, but duped them into appointing board members that would keep him on as an advisor after he resigned. So it's kind of interesting. One thing I want to note, that the story broke via Recode over the weekend. Recode's report mentions that none of Uber's remaining candidates are women. And so this kind of brings us back to the reason why Kalanick left. We should remember that he was basically forced out by Uber's board in the wake of a scandal related to the company's reportedly toxic office culture. Kalanick's resignation came just a few weeks after Uber fired 20 employees as a result of an internal investigation into what was described as rampant sexual harassment. Overall, seemed like an unhealthy culture at Uber for some period of time.
So bro tech culture.
Yeah, bro tech culture. Something that is an issue throughout Silicon Valley. So yeah, I wanted to highlight that note that Recode specifically said that the sources they were citing said that no women were left in consideration, which is an interesting note because I think a lot of people were kind of saying like, hey, maybe consider a woman for this job. This would help the culture a little bit. I don't know. I'll shoot that question over to you. Would you have liked a woman to emerge as Uber's next CEO?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, now I'm like feel pressure.
Sorry, not to put you on the spot, but
yeah, I think it would have been the PR positive thing to do.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's where it was coming from too, is kind of like a...
I mean, whoever they appoint, and if it's a man, that point is going to overshadow his nomination and his experience.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, why didn't you nominate a woman?
Sure.
And that's probably going to haunt Uber going forward, no matter what.
Yeah, to give them the benefit of the doubt, which I don't think it's really a company that has earned the benefit of the doubt as of late, but to do that, to just be fair on for whatever reason, it's very possible that all the women they reached out to said no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, did they also reach out? The name Meg Whitman comes to mind. I feel like she was rumored to be, but who knows if she was an actual...
Yeah, or interested.
Interested.
My question.
If she,
if the culture is that... Because I think one of the things that emerged the most out of Kalanick's resignation was the kind of cult following he had within the company of people who were upset to see him go, even... with the external pressure and the internal, it was a very polarizing move. And so I guess maybe there's a possibility that women that they reached out to said, I don't even want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Absolutely.
To see that many people in the company.
So maybe it'll take
supporting him on his way out.
This next CEO, whoever it is, his tenure, and then whoever comes after him, maybe if it's a woman, perhaps she or he may even feel,
singular they.
Let's make it pronoun friendly. they would feel more comfortable stepping into the role. Because whoever steps into it now, it's going to be awful. I feel like it's going to be awful. Not awful, but like to have to fill the role that Travis Kalanick created because of the points that you pointed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems to have been a problematic culture that was deeply ingrained into the way that the company operated. The firing of 20 employees, how public and widespread the claims of harassment and misconduct seem to be, it isn't something that can change overnight. It isn't something that the appointment of a woman as a CEO would fix immediately, obviously. It's not the type of thing that having your co-founder leave the company and hand it over to someone else fixes immediately either. So it'll be an uphill battle for whoever takes over. And so, yeah, I thought that was an interesting angle to look at it from, if not for any other reason than just kind of what you were saying, which is that you get a little bit of a head start on the PR of things. If you're saying, hey, we had this big problem with sexual harassment and we're bringing an experienced female executive in to address that issue, an issue that is, as you pointed out, I think it has been a problem not just at Uber, but in a lot of different
look what
areas
just happened
of the
at
tech
Google.
Industry. True, that was a mess. We didn't cover that on the show.
That could have been a whole episode. So
definitely.
But yeah, like you said.
So I want to touch on Jeff Immelt a little bit more. He is coming in with years and years of experience at GE. He's actually a GE career guy. He's been there his whole career. Started after graduating from Harvard in the early 80s. He was chosen as the company's CEO on September 7th, 2001, notably 4 days before the terror attacks of 9/11, of course. That was kind of his first major challenge as chief executive. They lost 2 employees tragically in those events, and it ended up costing their insurance business several $100 million. He would later take on the challenge of presenting corporate financial reporting through the Enron scandal. It's kind of as like a get out ahead of it kind of response to Enron. He said he publicly defended his company's own practices, going as far as to offer up expanded reports that were far more detailed than traditional SEC filings, and then, of course, also famously led GE through the 2008-09 financial crisis, resulted in the divestiture of a lot of different areas of the company, most of their finance business. He also sold off the NBC Universal business during his time as CEO.
GE owned NBC Universal.
Yeah, little known fact. They sold it off to.
I did not know that.
That was who owned it before
Comcast.
Before Comcast, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had General Electric. I think hasn't really been an appropriate name for the company in quite some time, but he's also credited with recognizing the Internet of Things as a growth opportunity for a few years. Legacy isn't spotless. I don't want to just prop up ML. Like, he's definitely a great choice here because there has been some polarizing opinions this week about whether he's the right man for the job. Throughout his time, it's interesting to note that like 2 days after his appointment as CEO, GE's stock hit an all-time high and that's still its all-time high today. Shares of the company lost about 60% over his time as CEO, dealing with a changing consumer landscape. Like I said, they sold off a lot of elements of the business as well. Kind of volatile employment environment. Interesting. He was like a figurehead in an Obama era presidential council about like creating U.S. jobs, but then was, harshly criticized for not necessarily having the most consistent employment environment during his time at GE. GE also is frequently under fire for how much corporate taxes they pay. So yeah, certainly not perfect. Very polarizing. It has been very polarizing this week. The reactions to these latest round of rumors. Of course, no appointment has been made. This is based off of a report that Recode broke over the weekend, as I mentioned. Certainly a lot of different things to pull from this, and Uber, for a private company, being that it is the largest private company in the world as far as valuation goes, under a microscope and under like a really big microscope, 2 microscopes put together so that it's doubling their magnifying power with the latest drama that has gone down there.
I wish we could get a final new valuation after everything that has happened.
Yes. Good point. That's actually a really good point. Basing the private valuation off of rounds of funding.
I would bet it's still the biggest privately held company, but I think it's lost quite a chunk.
Yeah, based off the last round of funding, hitting that $67 billion valuation, I would have to imagine if it were to go public today, it would be worth a little bit less than that based off of... Tough to go public without a CEO, though. So I would say if they did it tomorrow, probably wouldn't be a good idea. But anyway, I think that just about does it for us this week. More to come on that story, though, I would imagine, in the coming weeks. They need a CEO, so that will, I'm sure, play out relatively soon here. And maybe some more next week about discounted prices at Whole Foods. Maybe we'll have to go take a trip out to Whole Foods and see what's cheaper. So, as a reminder, guys, if you feel we missed anything, or if you want us to cover a different story, feel free to shoot us an email at podcast@zax.com. You can also check out all of our other exclusive audio content at zax.com/podcasts. And remember to subscribe and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time on Zach's Friday Finish Line.